Well, hello there. Do you remember me? It's Yvonne from Women's Fitness Adventures. I'm the founder and CEO of Women's Fitness Adventures. I decided decided it's been a couple of weeks since I've been here. Sorry, that just got croaky. And I decided to move location from my usual desk. So you can see behind me, there's a yoga mat, there's some weights, there's a roller. This is where I run our live online hiking fitness classes. So I'm in my studio, just thought I'd give it a bit of a break from my usual desk. It is extremely hot today where I live. I think I looked at the mercury on the, or not the mercury, I looked at the temperature gauge on the car and it was 39 degrees at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So that's pretty warm for where I live, and a hot, dry wind. It's actually pretty horrible outside. So lovely and cool inside. And I wanted to share with you today because I got asked a lot of questions about it on our recent Magical Morocco fitness adventure as to what goes into building a women's fitness adventure. How do I choose where we go? How do I plan? What sort of things do I look for? Because we know the outcome of our adventures is quite amazing. So what magic do I put into the pot to create such wonderful things? And as I say that, tomorrow our team are heading to New Zealand for our Southern Lakes adventure. We've done that for a couple of years, and they're going to notice a big temperature difference because it is pretty cool over there in Queenstown. And on Wednesday, our team are heading down to Kangaroo Island, one of the most beautiful islands that Australia has to offer, off South Australia, for their very own adventure down there as well. And it's one of those places that I love going to. I have only been there once, and it took me 30 years to get there, but really worth going. So if you are interested in Kangaroo Island or New Zealand, we have adventures to those places. But it has been a whole month since I've been here. So I'm always saying welcome back to me, but welcome back to me. I'm sitting on the floor or actually on a yoga block as well. So if you're watching live, please go ahead and say hello. It's nice to see who's watching. And if you are watching later on replay, just drop me a note to let me know as well. And of course, if you have any questions as we go, feel free to drop them in too. So if you followed us on our Morocco adventure, you would have seen just how much fun we were having. Every single day was a journey of discovery. It was full of laughs. It was full of fun. It was full of adventure. It was full of culture. It was full of amazing food, the most amazing food. It was full of learning and history and language, and just the days stopped being days. They just turned into moving from moment to moment to moment. And every single one of us, sometimes where you feel that you are just in the flow of something and that you really know when you're appreciating something, you know when you're enjoying something. That is what Morocco was like. We just were all so in the flow of let's enjoy this moment for every single thing that it is. And it started, as soon as we got off the plane, we had and this is part of today's topic is how do we build an adventure, what goes into an adventure. And certainly with Morocco was a country that we hadn't been to before, so it was one of our first. And it was we all held and I'm going to guess for most of us listening, we all have different views about different places, and until you go to somewhere, you don't really appreciate and understand. And that's one of the most wonderful things about travel. So from the moment we got off the plane, whatever time you landed, and whatever time or day you came in, you were met by a person, like not just any person, a person with your name on the card who would escort you through customs, escort you through baggage collection, and out to your waiting private transfer. So that was for every single woman who came onto our Morocco adventure. Whether you were traveling with me or not, there was a group traveling with me, but if you were coming in at a different time, that was still available to you, which really sped up the process. It meant we had more time for stuff, but it also meant that from the moment we arrived, we didn't have to think about all these logistic things. We didn't, time is precious, and there's always that time money trade-off. The less you want to spend, the more time it's going to take you. But if you can have someone who's helping you speed quickly through those things that really don't add too much to the experience, it really does make a huge difference. So hello, Kerry. Hello, Sandra. Hello, Leonie. Hello, Karen. Hello, Jelena. Speaking of, was on our adventure as well. But everyone got along so well on our Morocco adventure. It was there were 13 of us. It was a lucky 13, just an amazing group of women, but they always are. And, not only did we buy ourselves gifts and mementos and some wonderful, wonderful photographs, which some of you have seen, but we also brought back with us knowledge. I've got a big line through the middle of me there. We also brought back lots of knowledge, lots of, I think if I just move that way a bit, there we go. Lots of knowledge, lots of shattered a lot of preconceptions that we might have had also about the country. And one of the words, if you've read the story that I wrote for the website, that underlying kindness that existed on from all the Moroccan people, that openness, that generosity, the tolerance, the welcoming, just truly amazing. And we all came back with such a wonderful a new appreciation, and that is a really big deal, to bring that learning back home, to start to challenge some of the beliefs and myths or preconceived ideas or what you might hear in the media about different countries or cultures or religions as well. So when we talk about what goes into building one of our adventures, we look for that kind of knowledge, because I firmly believe that women can change the world, and it's through our learning and understanding and appreciation of learning from other women, because we did spend time with other women in local communities, that when women bring that back and share their knowledge, it has that ripple effect as well, so that those around you not only see your great photos and whatever souvenirs you might have bought them, but they actually get to understand your lived experience. And if you can have that such positive lived experience, then it just makes for greater tolerance all over the world. So there's my little thing. Hello, Christine. Sorry, I've missed all your calls today. I have been in and out. And hello, Kim, as well. So I get lots. We've been going for almost 12 years now, and if you think of the pre-stuff, before that, there's a lot that goes into planning a multi-day hike, and you might think, oh well, I can just pick that up and do that from the website. I can search online and I can find any adventure, and absolutely you can. I encourage you to do that if that's your thing. But for us to build an adventure, it's really more than that. We just don't pick a trail and go. There's so many factors that go into it, and it starts with the purpose. Why are we actually going to do that trail? Is the trail we try and not go to places that you could go yourself. We try or you couldn't coordinate the logistics to do that yourself, or you couldn't get into some of the places that we could get into, or you can't get that private group experience where we go, or you can't get that exclusive on the accommodation, or you can't get that booking at that restaurant, or you can't get into that location because it's been closed down by parks for whatever reason and not open to XYZ. And that's where our relationships with our partners come in as well. We've been into we did the overland track in winter a few years ago, and we were the only group, bar about 3 other people, inside the whole Cradle Mountain World Heritage National Park. It was during pandemic times, and we were the only ones in there. We've also been the only ones inside the walls of Jerusalem in Tasmania. Fires had burnt it out the year before, and only our partners had a key to get access with permission into the walls of Jerusalem. So we're the only ones inside there as well. So we look for those exclusive opportunities that you can't get anywhere else. So that's one of the things. But all about the purpose. It's not just about where we go, it's about the experience that we are going to have doing that. So, some of the locations and the places that we've been close to home and around the world are about what experience are we going to have while we're there. So it's not just about the hiking trail. And, a lot of it is also to do with the dynamic of who's in the group. And we know that we design our adventures for women, and for women who want to get out and be active and know that there's more to life. I mean, these things exist in life, but more to life than, that coffee date or the wine date. That being strong, being active, being healthy is really, really important. That longevity and that mobility, all those things that make up our daily life, we can gather from the adventure as well. And when we train for something, when we set our sights on something, when we set a goal for something, that's when the transformation happens. The adventure is really just the mechanism to bring all that to life. And you may or may not know, I know there's a lot of members watching here, but there's obviously some who aren't members because you'd say hello, and I get it. I'm 2 decades of teaching women health and wellness, and generally women over 50. And I've seen and heard every single excuse, and I still hear and see every single excuse. And I can tell who will be an adventurer and who won't. I know it is a mindset thing. There is a language around it. We all want to look good, feel good. We all want to be fitter. It doesn't cut it. That doesn't mean anything. We can all say those words. The actions speak louder than words. But what I found from, I owned a gym. I was global marketing director for a gym franchise. That if you have a goal and you set your mind on that goal, whatever that is that's fitness related, all those other things of looking good, feeling good, losing weight, whatever those things tie in around that, they all fall by the wayside and happen anyway because you have this big thing that pulls you along. And it has to be big enough and it has to be scary enough, in a good scary, to keep you motivated, because there's no point in having intention if each time you commit to showing up to training or to classes or whatever, you just keep sending, I'm not coming, I'm not coming, I'm not coming. That's kind of setting yourself up to fail. So why am I talking about this? Because I know that on the adventures work so well because everyone has committed to the training. Everyone, I've still got that big line. Everyone has committed to that big goal of, I want to get on the trail. I want to be successful. They'll do their very best with the training. It's not getting there the day before and going, I hope I'm fit enough, because if you've done the training, I'm trying to move from this big light here. You've done the training, you'll know if you've done the training or not. And when everyone does the training, and I think that's why they're so good, everyone does the training, then, there's no one who misses out at the end of the day. And that's where some of the magic happens as well, the experiences that we deliver in the evenings as well, whether it's sitting around a campfire, whether it's going to a palace in Fez in Morocco for dinner, whether it's sitting, in a hut in the middle of Iceland, whether it's sitting in a tent, off track somewhere way beyond in Kakadu. There are experiences that are delivered, and when everyone's feeling well and fit after a day of hiking, it really adds to that experience. So we start looking at building an adventure about, and I'm sharing this because I got asked this a lot on our Moroccan trip. We start building an adventure about 2 years to 18 months to 2 years out. And why do we do that? Because we want it to be right. So I generally take the first adventures. So, and I take group with me who know it's the first adventure. And sometimes it doesn't always go to plan, but 99% of the time it does. And if it doesn't, we just adapt, and everyone knows that. But what we do in our 18-month of planning is think about where can we go that doesn't have all the tourists, that meets the objective of being about fitness most of the time, that still allows time for relaxation, it still allows time for culture, it still allows time for exploration and a little bit of shopping as well, because that's important. Where can we go where we know whatever we grade the adventure, that the whole team will succeed? And when we look at our calendar of events for the year, we want to have some introductory We want to, so that might be your first hike. Your first multi-day hike. We want to have some moderate ones so that if you're a regular hiker, you just need to focus a little bit on that consistency of training, but your fitness is pretty much there. And then we have some challenging ones too that, if you really want to step it up, what's a challenging hike that you can do? And challenging may not necessarily be that the trail is extremely difficult. It could be that as part of that challenging, that it is maybe in a more remote location, that maybe the facilities aren't, the hotel, maybe it's a youth, well, not a youth hostel, but a mountain refuge or somewhere, something like that. So there's lots of things that can go into, it could be a language thing. It could be that you can't drink the tap water and you've got to have bottled water, which means that I'm sitting on this, this yoga block. It means that you need to, really have the concentration and wits about you for just being alert a little bit more. Our leader is always there as well. And so we have local guides when we do multi-days, and we have our leader as well. And the role of the leader is so varied and so critical to the success of the adventure, because she is there. She's a personal trainer or she's a physio. So she understands women's bodies. She understands what's going on in our lives, how many hats we're juggling. And her role is to make sure that you are getting what you need out of that adventure. And that plays a really critical part. So we're building this adventure. We're about 18 months out. We've decided on our location. We've decided on the level of fitness needed. We look at what we're hiking each day or what fitness components are involved. We look at whether we need to put some rest days in there, or if there are travel days in between. So with Morocco, there are a couple of times where we had to do travel days by private transfer. So we made sure that we minimize that, but maximize the enjoyment of those days as well. And having own private transfers makes a huge difference. We also talk about the logistics and the weather, how to choose the right time of year without being, in locations that are overpopulated or have closed down. You can go to Cinque Terre, we go to on a regular basis. We haven't been for a while. And, you can go and you'll be just on the shoulder edge of the crowds, or you can go when there's no crowds, but no shops are open either. So making sure that, when you go is timed to deliver the right experience. It's hopefully not too hot, and we can't always control the weather. We ask for good weather, but it's not too cold either. But in that, we, behind the scenes, are literally curating all the experiences, but also in the back of our heads figuring out, okay, if something doesn't go to plan, if someone says they're not able to walk today or hike today, or the track is closed because there's been a snowfall, or the weather conditions prohibit us from catching the little water taxi over to that part of the hike to be able to start, what are our contingencies in the background? So we're always making sure that we have plan A, B, C, D, so that we can deliver this amazing fitness adventure for you. But there's also the unseen work. Most of that's unseen to you, but we do brief for our guides. We make sure that we have the right local guide for us. So when we were choosing our guides for Morocco, and we asked for resumes, we asked for CVs, we needed to make sure, there were 13 strong, independent, sometimes opinionated Australian women, not singling anyone out, on that trip. We wanted to make sure that the guides that we had were able to would understand that we would ask a lot of questions out of interest, that we would have more questions than the average tourist, that we were keen to learn and understand the culture. And is that okay? But we also screen for our hiking guides that they have the right qualifications, that they have the right experience, that they have all the permits and all the registrations, and we ask for references as well. So we're really particular, not only who takes us or who we partner with, but also what their safety record is like and what their experience in working with women is like. So there's a whole lot of other stuff there. It's also about making sure we get the pacing right. It's about making sure we get the timing right for stops for lunch, for break stops, for toilets, pointing out where toilets are, making sure there's toilets, but also getting local connection where it's possible. Or, in Morocco, we stopped in at Berber houses and learned how to make bread and, had tea with families and things like that. But in Kakadu, when we went there, it's about making sure our guides had and you have to be trained to have to be able to talk about Indigenous when you're in Kakadu. So making sure that the guides we had that background and had that experience and that permission to talk about it as well. So, the understanding of the culture, the landscape, the flora, the fauna, all of that is such an important thing when we build an adventure as well. And hello to whoever has popped in there. But the connection is really important as well. And I can, not going to show you, but my WhatsApp is full of guides from all over the world. And they will message me really regularly and say, hey, Yvonne, what are you up to now? We've got a trip we're thinking of. Have you thought of going to this area? I know what you and your ladies enjoy. What about this one? And, from Morocco, we've got a few that might spring forward. But there is always someone from all parts of the world. Our guide from the Pyrenees messaged me not long after the girls got home and said, hey, I've got one coming up in Spain that I think would work. What do you think of this? And we start adjusting that. And that won't happen till probably 2027. So it's having those local experts on the ground who are now partners with us that help us build this really wonderful experience. And then on the flip side of that, when we're building this experience and we bring it to life on the website, is we make sure that we build that training plan around it so that we can not only teach all of those who are coming the skills that are needed and their gear and equipment, but making sure that you're trained as well, because we know that when we train for an adventure and follow the training plan, that you will be adventure ready and you will be successful. And I don't know if you've ever had a coach, but I've had lots of coaches and I still have coaches. And if I follow the advice of the coach, then the outcome that I want will happen. But it's when I think I pay for a plan or I get a plan and I think I know better than the plan, that the outcome that I want doesn't happen, or it may take a lot longer to happen. So, with all of our adventures, as we're building them, we ask questions like, what do the trail conditions look like? What's the altitude gain and descent? And if you aren't sure about that, remember we did a masterclass on that. We ask are there any drop-offs? Because we know a lot of us are not great going near edges. We ask, how many hours is that we're out? Not kilometers, because that's irrelevant, again, that masterclass, but how many hours are we out? What is the accommodation at the end of that day, if that's a particularly hard day? What is that like as well? And then we'll build the training plan around that. So for if we have a trail that's rocky, so the Larapinta, the 100K program for that, we know that trail is rocky. So we'll start talking about shoes quite early on and how making sure our feet remain our saving grace. We'll start talking about being able to lift our feet. That's why we introduced step fit training. We'll start talking about the importance of particular muscle groups for that adventure. So you may think, oh, I booked on that and that's just, or if you're thinking about it, yeah, they give me a training plan. That's just a training plan and I'll just walk. I'll just do my hikes. You can choose to do that and, you'll probably be successful. But building into that training plan, we make sure that, we know that you may have to carry your own bag onto a ferry if you're going somewhere, or help pack it into the trailer, so you have to be able to lift it. We know that you might have to step over logs or creeks, or rock hop up a creek one day, or that you have if you were going to Machu Picchu, or if you were going to let me think. Even in Morocco, there were some big uphills where you had to lift your feet, building those strong glutes so that we have that power to lift our legs. But making sure in our training plan, when we know what the trail conditions are like, that at the end of the day, when that last kilometre of the trail gets really rocky, but you can see the hut at the end or the hotel at the end, that you still have that strength in your legs to be able to lift your feet, that you're not going to trip over 200 metres from the campsite because you forgot to train for that last bit. So all of those things that you may think, oh, it's just a random training plan, is actually not a random training plan. We've done this for two decades. I've been training women now, and the other leaders also have lots of experience and combined lots of decades in women's health and women's fitness. So the outcome of a multi-day hike isn't just about ticking off the bucket list. And I mean, that's great. That's the allure in the very beginning, but it's about who we become along the way. And, a friend said the other day, she said, for the last 6 months, I have not missed one of my training sessions with my personal instructor. And I can't wait to see her in a couple of weeks. And I thought about that and I thought, wow, that is so fantastic. I don't think I've been that consistent. And have you ever been like that too, where you think, well, how come she can do it and I can't? And it's because she's just been putting in the work. And so when people say to us, I could never hike, I could never do that, you just put in the work. And as I said, I've been working with, on a totally unrelated matter, a gut health expert for 18 months now. And today I graduated. I don't have to go back because I've been following her plan exactly as it's supposed to be. So it is the same with our hiking. It is the same with anything else we do. It is knowing that that expert is there to help you, to get you to have the best outcome and that transformation that happens as well. Now, no one's had any comments, so I'm really surprised that I haven't had any comments at all. But the whole premise of what we do with our multi-days is we if we build it, they will come. But we build it to that destination that you probably wouldn't go to on your own, or couldn't. Well, not go. No, you may. You very well may. That the way the adventure is structured is that it would be quite challenging to be able to do that on your own in terms of the logistics and the experiences that are delivered, the places we go to, the camaraderie that we build, the friendships along the way as well. You're so sweet, Christine. But we teach you about the adventure. We teach you how to train, and then we take you on that adventure as well. So that teach, train, take is at the base of everything we do when we build our multi-day adventures. So if you're thinking of an adventure and you think, well, I feel like I'm such a long way from that, all we ask that you do is that if you sign up, you follow the training plan. If we all do our very best, then that's all we can ask. It's when we may not do our very best and we get there and we hope that we'll be fit enough that some little red flags might go up. And we keep in contact with you all along the way. We give you all those skills as well. We give you all the knowledge. The packing list for Morocco had A, B, C, D, which is not what the packing list for our Tarkine adventure has, or our Larapinta adventure, or our Iceland adventure has either. So it's very detailed. It's very specific. The information on tipping is very different for international versus Australia. The information on currency, the information on PowerPoints. As one of the ladies on the Morocco trip said to me, she said, I do lots of hikes with lots of companies, but you give me a training plan. You care that I actually showed up at the airport. You wanted to know my flight times. You give me a packing list that you actually explained to me. You give me a Ready, Set, Go online meeting where I've met I get to meet all the other women. You give me a community that I make friends with before I go. You teach me how to train for the hike. She said, no one else does that. I don't think they do either, but then I'm a little bit biased. So next time you see one of our adventures, just think about that. It's not just something I pulled off the shelf and threw up there with 40, minutes of thinking about. It's actually about 18 months that it takes to, 2 years from pretty much concept. We're working on 2027 now, to concept to being on our website, and it's all done with the goal of you know, learning more, coming back, uh, you know, wiser, fitter, stronger than we were before we left, and sharing that experience, that knowledge, and all of our learnings with those of us in our world that are back here at home. So hopefully that gives you some understanding that when we're in the office, we're not just sitting there, looking at all these crazy things and waiting for the phone to ring, but we're not. We're really doing some pretty serious, intense work. There can be, nail biting and pulling our hair out and frustrating, but we believe the outcome that we get is pretty amazing. So that's all I wanted to share today. I'm back for a good couple of weeks now as we lead in towards Christmas. There are a few things online in terms of in person on the Gold Coast coming up. Celebration of Summer is coming up in December down on the Gold Coast. Thank you, Rebecca. Thanks for that feedback. Also, I just want to add to that. During the pandemic, we worked with lots of companies pre-pandemic, and in pandemic times, I saw lots of companies, I won't name them, behaving really badly. So we kept a naughty and a nice list of people that we wanted to work with partners, and we've held true to that word. And when lots of no, I won't say that. So we held true to that word. We knew what was important to us and to our members, our adventurers during that pandemic season or period. And we knew that one day it would end, and that those who acted during that time with integrity and with honor and with trust were the companies that we wanted to work with. And we still hold true to that. So we just don't choose any partner out there. My highest values are trust and safety and integrity, and being true to your word, and that's the type of people that I will only work with as well. So I will say no to lots of partners as well. But anyway, there are some local in-person things in Brisbane happening. If you want to refresh yourself, there's the Welcome to Hiking bundle. There is the Narang Hike Friday week. There is also the Celebration of Summer happening down the Gold Coast early December too. And then, of course, there's our online fitness classes. Book club is on as well, and we have a masterclass coming up in November too. So the pointy end of the year is coming. If you are thinking of adventure for next year, there's only a couple of spots left on the places that we have on the website. So jump in. We'd really love to have you be with us on one of those adventures and get you going on your training plan. So as I said at the beginning, good luck to not good luck, all the best to our Kangaroo Island team heading off on Wednesday, and our New Zealand team heading off tomorrow. We look forward to their pictures all over Facebook, and we can share that adventure virtually with them. So thanks for tuning in, and hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your feedback, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.